Good morning, everyone. We are Group 4 and our topic is all about respiratory system diseases. So the first disease is Haemophilus influenzae type B, HIV for short. It is a life-threatening infection that can lead to serious illness, especially in children. So this disease is common siya sa mga children. So this is the structure of the pathogen H. influenzae. The shape of it is rod shape. In reported cases, every year about 20,000 young children got serious HIV disease and about 1,000 died. More than half of the children who developed serious HIV disease were younger than 1 year old. Today, less than 50 cases of HIV disease occur each year in young children in the United States. So HIV disease is transmitted through contact with mucus or droplets from the nose and throat of an infected person, often by coughing or sneezing. So natatransmit siya through coughing or sneezing. Haemophilus influenzae disease is caused by bacteria called H. influenzae. So the symptoms of HIV are severe headache, stiff neck, convulsions or seizures, severe drowsiness, difficulty waking up, loss of consciousness, and difficulty with breathing. So for the diagnosis is physical examination, blood test, and getting the test of the fluid around the spine. And the fluid is called cerebrospinal fluid. Kinokolect ito using a needle. And this procedure is called lumbar puncture, and also getting the tests of other specimens. For the treatment and prevention for HIV, ang ginagamit nila is antibiotics such as cefotaxime, ceftriaxone, or ampicillin with chloramphenicol are generally used to treat serious infections. Rifampin is used in some circumstances as preventive treatment for persons who have been exposed to HIV disease. So yung mga na-expose na is rifampin yung ginagamit nilang preventive treatment. Before the HIV vaccine, for entry and colonization, the HIV bacteria is madali siyang maka-enter sa body through the respiratory tract. And nagkakaroon din ng disease manifestation such as meningitis, which is yung brain infection, pneumonia, lung infection, bloodstream infections, and epiglottitis, which is yung sa swelling of the throat. And sa immune response naman is, depende sa immune system, kung malakas is pwede niyang maklear yung infection without the HIV vaccine and without causing significant symptoms. After the HIV vaccine, prevention of colonization and infection. Sa pag-inject ng HIV vaccine is nagproproduce siya ng antibodies specifically targeting the HIV vaccine and nape-prevent din yung infection. And nagkakaroon ng reduction in disease incidence. Vaccinated individuals are protected from HIV infection, and the transmission of the bacteria within communities is reduced. So, nare-reduce yung pag-transmit ng disease and nagkakaroon ng fewer cases na lang ng disease. Herd immunity. High vaccination coverage not only protects vaccinated individuals, but also provides indirect protection to unvaccinated individuals. So, through herd immunity, is hindi lamang yung mga vaccinated individuals yung napoprotektahan, kundi is naiiwasan din yung pag-transmit sa mga unvaccinated individuals. So, there are two types na available vaccination for HIV disease. First is yung DTaP, which is diphtheria, tetanus, and cellular pertussis, and yung IPV, inactivated poliovirus vaccine. HIV vaccine protects babies ages 2 through 18 months from HIV disease, tetanus, diphtheria, whooping cough or pertussis, and polio. The next one is measles. It is also called rubella. It is a viral illness that usually consists of a fever with cough, runny nose, and pink eye or conjunctivitis, followed by a distinct rash. So this is the structure of the pathogen morbillivirus. The shape of morbillivirus is spherical shape. The reported cases in the World Health Organization's most recent global numbers, released in November, revealed that measles cases increased worldwide by 18% to about 9 million, and deaths rose 43% to 136,000 in 2022 compared to 2021. Some 32 countries had large disruptive outbreaks in 2022, and that number ticked up to 51 in 2023. Measles is transmitted or spread by contact with infected nasal or throat secretions such as coughing or sneezing, or breathing the air that was breathed by someone with measles. So, the cause of measles is the bacteria morbillivirus. The common symptoms of measles include a rash that first shows up to your hairline or forehead and then spreads downward to other parts of your body. So, nagsisimula siya sa hairline ng forehead and downward siya kumakalat yung mga symptoms ng measles. Hacking cough, which is yung dry cough, runny nose, sore throat, red inflamed eyes or conjunctivitis, Koplik spots, small red spots, ito yung small red spots siya, and yung sa center nun is color white or blue-white, and it is found inside your mouth and cheeks. For the diagnosis, a healthcare provider will usually be able to diagnose measles with a good history and physical exam and looking at the rash. However, they may order laboratory tests to find the virus in samples of blood, secretions from your nose and throat, and urine or pee. There is no cure for measles. The virus must run its course, which usually takes about 10 to 14 days. So, you can manage your symptoms by taking acetaminophen, or it is called paracetamol, or NSAIDs, non-steroidal inflammatory drug for aches, pains, or fever. Getting plenty of rest, drinking lots of fluids, gargling with salt water, avoiding harsh light if your eyes hurt. But the best way to prevent measles is through vaccination. So before the measles vaccine, it is highly contagious. So it spreads easily through respiratory droplets when an infected person coughs or sneezes. It is wide-ranging symptoms. Marami siyang symptoms yung measles, such as common cold, including fever, cough, runny nose, and red, watery eyes. After the measles vaccine, there is a dramatic reduction in cases. Vaccination programs have significantly decreased transmission and prevented outbreaks. Protection against infection. The measles vaccine provides long-lasting immunity against the virus in the majority of individuals who receive it. Prevention of complications and deaths. Na-reduce din yung mga incidents of measles-related complications and deaths. So, meron ding dalawang available vaccination for measles. The first one is the MMR, Measles, Mumps, Rubella vaccine, and the second one is MMRV, Measles, Mumps, Rubella, Varicella vaccine.
As you can see in the presentation, pertussis is also known as whooping cough. It is a highly contagious respiratory tract infection caused by Bordetella pertussis. The disease is only found in humans. Whooping cough bacteria attach to the cilia, tiny hair-like extensions that line part of the upper respiratory system. It is considered as a child disease. Structure of pathogen. Bordetella pertussis is a small rod-shaped, cucoid or ovoid gram-negative bacterium that is encapsulated and does not produce spores. It is a strict aerobe. It is arranged singly or in small groups and is not easily distinguished from Haemophilus species. Did you know that the pertussis caused 1,000 of deaths in the 1930s and 1940s? And now, the reported cases up to date based on the Philippines Department of Health reports 28 new pertussis or whooping cough. Ubong dalahit in Tagalog. Cases recorded from March 10 to 16, bringing the total cases to 568 from January 1 to March 16, 2024. So, paano nga ba natatransmit yung sakit sa isang tao? Number 1, it is transmitted from person to person through coughing or sneezing. Meron din inhaling respiratory droplets containing the bacteria, and lastly is touching a surface contaminated with the bacteria and then touching your mouth, nose, and eyes. And yung causes naman is the Bordetella pertussis. So, what is Bordetella pertussis? Bordetella pertussis is a bacterium that causes pertussis. Also known as whooping cough, it is a highly contagious respiratory disease that can cause severe coughing fits, especially in infants and young children. So, what are the symptoms of pertussis? Number 1 is coughing, sneezing, nasal discharge, fever, sore or watery eyes. And after 2 weeks, provoke vomiting, result in a red or blue face, cause extreme fatigue, and lastly, end with a high-pitched whoop sound during the next breath of air. Diagnosis of pertussis using polymerase chain reaction, swab, and blood test. One of the treatment prevention is vaccine. Pertussis vaccines are very effective. However, if pertussis is circulating in the community, there is a possibility that even a fully vaccinated person could catch the disease. Babies who are too young to receive the vaccine are also at very high risk of catching pertussis. The illness can be serious, even sometimes fatal in young infants. Next, what is legionellosis? A severe form of pneumonia, lung inflammation usually caused by infection. The structure of pathogen of legionellosis is Legionella cells. It is ultrastructurally. Legionella has the inner and outer membranes typical of gram-negative bacteria. The reported cases up to date during July 11, August 15, 2022, NCPH identified 17 Legionnaire's disease cases, including 14 confirmed and 3 suspected cases. Among the 17 cases, 16 persons was hospitalized. 10 were admitted to an intensive care unit and 5 required intubation and mechanical ventilation. 1 patient died. By inhalation of contaminated aerosols produced in conjunction with water sprays, jets or mists of contaminated water sources. Most people catch Legionnaire's disease by inhaling the bacteria from water or soil. Older adults, smokers, and people with weakened immune systems are particularly susceptible to this disease. The causative agents are Legionella bacteria from water or potting mix. The bacterium Legionella pneumophila is responsible for most cases of Legionnaire's disease. These are the symptoms of legionellosis: high fever, cough which can be dry or productive, shortness of breath, muscle aches, headache, fatigue, loss of appetite, chest pain, confusion, or other mental changes. Diagnosis: urinary antigen test on a sample of your sputum or lung tissue, blood test. But the preferred diagnostic tests for Legionnaire's disease are the Legionella urinary antigen test and culture of lower respiratory secretions on media that supports growth of Legionella. Proper maintenance of water, hospitalization, prompt medical attention, Legionella testing, and etc. can prevent the disease. Before the treatment, severe pneumonia-like symptoms, potentially life-threatening. But after the treatment, improvement in symptoms but may require hospitalization and severe cases. And lastly, treatment exists but there is currently no vaccine available for Legionnaire's disease.
Okay, so the next disease that we are going to discuss is the enterovirus. Enterovirus is a genus-positive single-stranded RNA viruses associated with several human mammalian diseases. In simple words, enterovirus is a group of viruses that typically cause mild to moderate respiratory and gastrointestinal illness. There are more than 100 types of enterovirus. It includes Coxsackie viruses. They are a type of enterovirus that can cause various infections, including hand, foot, and mouth disease, as well as other illnesses like viral meningitis and myocarditis. Other one is the echoviruses. They are other type of enterovirus that can cause range of illnesses, including respiratory and gastrointestinal infection, as well as viral meningitis, as I mentioned earlier to the Coxsackie viruses. They are called echo because they were originally isolated from the gastrointestinal tract, respiratory secretion, and feces of humans. The next one is enteroviruses, as I mentioned earlier. They are a family of viruses that can cause various infections, including the common cold, hand, foot, and mouth disease, and sometimes more serious conditions like viral meningitis or myocarditis. Next one is the polioviruses. Polioviruses are a type of enterovirus that can cause polio, a contagious viral illness. And the structure of pathogens of enterovirus they have simple structure. They are made up of genetic material, RNA, surrounded by protein called a capsid. These capsids help protect the RNA and allows the virus to attach and enter the host cells, where it can replicate and cause infections. Well, the reported cases here in the Philippines as of 2011 is 68 among children with severe acute respiratory infection called enteroviruses. The transmission is airborne. Enteroviruses are spread or transmitted in various ways. These viruses are spread by swallowing food or water contaminated with stool from an infected person. Other one is touching a contaminated surface, then touching to the mouth, inhaling in contaminated airborne droplets. The causes are the following: enterovirus or enterovirus D68 respiratory infections. It can lead to symptoms like coughing, wheezing, difficult breathing, and some cases, more severe respiratory issues, especially in children with asthma. And the other one is epidemic pleuridemia, also known as devil's grip. It's a viral infection that causes sudden and severe chest pain, usually accompanied by fever and muscle aches. The next one is the most common, the hand, foot, and mouth disease. It is a viral infection common in children, characterized by sores or blisters in the mouth or on the hands and on the feet. The other one is hypergenia and polio and post-polio syndrome. The symptoms are fever, headache, sore throat, vomiting, and diarrhea. And their diagnosis is the enterovirus infections. Doctors examine any rashes or sores. Doctors may do blood tests or send samples of material taken from the throat, stool, or a cerebrospinal fluid into a laboratory for culture and testing. Treatment: stay hydrated or drink more water and take over-the-counter medication if needed. Most people recover completely. There is no specific treatment for enterovirus. Before and after the enterovirus, most people with enterovirus symptoms will usually recover in 7 to 10 days. People weakened immune system, asthma, or other respiratory conditions may develop more serious complications. It might take them longer to completely recover. In vaccination, as I mentioned earlier, there is no specific treatment for enterovirus as well as the vaccination. There is no available vaccination for enterovirus infection. So the next respiratory disease that we are going to discuss is the SARI, or severe acute respiratory infection. It is an illness of recent onset within 7 days, manifested by fever, cough, and shortness of breath or difficulty in breathing, requiring hospitalization. It is a term used to describe severe respiratory illnesses that can lead to hospitalization or even death. Information about the disease. SARI is a term used to describe a broad spectrum of severe respiratory illnesses often associated with viral infections like influenza, respiratory syncytial virus or RSV, or coronaviruses such as SARS-CoV and SARS-CoV-2. SARI can lead to severe pneumonia and respiratory distress requiring hospitalization and intensive medical care. Structure of pathogen. The pathogens that can cause SARI can include viruses like influenza, respiratory syncytial virus or RSV, adenovirus, and coronaviruses such as SARS-CoV-2, which causes COVID-19, among others. These pathogens have different structures, but they typically consist of genetic materials, either DNA or RNA, surrounded by protein coat. The protein coat that have spikes or other structures that help the virus attach to and invade human cells, causing respiratory symptoms and illness. Reported cases as of 2011, we have 34,260. And the transmission of SARI can be through respiratory droplets when an infected person coughs, sneezes, or talks. Causes. Now, we have here the influenza. Influenza, often called the flu. It is a contagious respiratory illness caused by influenza viruses. It is usually affect the nose, throat, and sometimes the lungs. Symptoms include fever, cough, sore throat, runny or stuffy nose, muscle or body aches, fatigue, and sometimes vomiting and diarrhea. Respiratory syncytial virus or RSV, as I mentioned earlier, it is a common virus that affects the respiratory system, especially in infants and young children. It causes symptoms similar to cold, such as coughing, sneezing, and runny nose, and even fever. In some cases, it can lead to more severe respiratory problems like bronchitis and or pneumonia, especially in babies. Adenovirus. Adenovirus is a type of virus that can cause various illnesses, including respiratory infections like common cold, sore throat, bronchitis, and pneumonia. It can also cause infection in the intestine, eyes, and urinary tract. Adenovirus spreads through respiratory droplets from coughing or sneezing, as well as through contact with contaminated surfaces. The next one is coronavirus, like SARS-CoV-2, bacteria like Streptococcus, pneumoniae, and the other pathogens. The symptoms are fever, cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, fatigue, body aches, and sometimes diarrhea. The diagnosis of SARI typically involves assessing symptoms like fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, along with a physical examinations. Treatment or prevention. The treatment or prevention of this disease is are rest, hydration, fever management, and sometimes antiviral medications or antibiotic depending on the cause. Before and after the result. Before the result of SARI test, medical professionals will conduct various diagnosis or diagnostic tests and assessments to determine the cause and severity of the respiratory infection. After the SARI result, treatment plans would be adjusted based on the specific pathogens detected, if any, of the severity and infection. Available vaccination. Vaccines like influenza vaccine can help to prevent some forms of respiratory infections, but specific vaccines for SARI itself may not exist.
Hello everyone! So as a continuation to our group's previous discussion, let me discuss to you the one of the certain diseases that could affect our respiratory system, varicella. So varicella is known as the disease of the childhood. It is caused by a certain pathogen called varicella zoster virus. Okay, so how come that varicella became a part of respiratory diseases? Well, it is because varicella can be transmitted through airborne or through inhalation of those aerosols and droplets from a person who's infected. Another reason why varicella is a respiratory disease is because once you get infected by the varicella zoster virus, it can cause complications, especially when you get infected by this virus when you're already an adult. One of the most common complications you could get when you get infected by varicella when you're already an adult is the varicella pneumonia. Varicella pneumonia is one of the most common cause of death of people in the US population according to a survey. And the complications that can be obtained can be worse when the one who's infected is pregnant, an elderly, or those who are immunocompromised. When we say immunocompromised, it means that their immune system is weak. So, merong common question regarding varicella. So, posible pa ba na magkaroon ng varicella once na natamaan ka na ng varicella nung bata ka? The answer is no. So, according to surveys, pag tinamaan ka na ng varicella noon, hindi ka na ulit mai-infect ng varicella ngayon. So, pero it doesn't mean na safe ka na sa virus na nagdudulot ng varicella. So, the pathogen that causes varicella is known as the varicella zoster virus. Take note of that. Well, si varicella zoster virus kasi, once na na-infect na niya yung isang tao, hindi na siya mawawala sa system natin. It will stay in the dorsal root ganglia, which is a spinal nerve, at magre-remain lang siya doon na inactive once na tamaan ka na. Pero merong isang skin disease din na dinudulot si varicella zoster virus, which is the shingles or the herpes zoster. Ito naman is reactivation siya ni chickenpox or the varicella. So, si shingles, pag nagkaroon ka nun, less fatal siya than chickenpox kasi it can only appear on a certain part of the body, halimbawa sa face or sa torso. Halimbawa, meron kang skin lesions. Pag meron ka nun, tapos nagkaroon ka ng direct contact sa isang tao na nagkaroon na ng chickenpox before, hindi na siya mahahawaan. Pero, kapag hindi ka pa nagkaroon ng chickenpox, tapos nagkaroon ka ng direct contact sa isang tao na may shingles, mahahawaan ka ng chickenpox. That is because present doon sa lesions niya si varicella zoster virus. And remember, varicella zoster virus is the pathogen that causes chickenpox. Okay, so next, let's move on to the next slide, which is the structure of the pathogen. Okay, so the virus that causes varicella is known as the varicella zoster virus. And this virus came from the subfamily of Alpha herpes virinae or the family of Herpes viridae. So, this family kasi is a group in which the double-stranded DNA virus is enclosed. And it is enclosed in a capsid shell in which it is surrounded by glycoproteins. Well, the viral genome is enclosed to make sure na hindi siya ma-detect ng immune sensors. And once na nakapasok na siya sa katawan ng target or host niya, that was when mag-o-open na yung capsid shell and mag-undergo na siya ng replication throughout the whole body. Dun na siya magkakalat ng infection throughout the body. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide, which is the reported cases up to date. Well, it is really hard to obtain information regarding these cases, so ang nakuha ko lang is yun yung maibibigay ko rin sa inyo. This is based on the population in the US. Well, before the vaccination, nakapagtatala sila ng up to 4 million cases of varicella each year. Umaabot din sila ng more than 10,000 hospitalizations each year. At umaabot din sila ng 150 deaths each year. Pero after the vaccination, nakapagtatala na lang sila ng fewer than 150,000 cases each year. At less than 1,400 hospitalizations each year at less than 30 deaths each year, which is mas mababa compared doon sa year kung saan hindi pa laganap ang vaccination. Okay, so let's move on naman to the next slide, which is the transmission. Well, gaya nga ng nasabi ko kanina kung bakit nakasama si varicella as a respiratory disease is because of its mode of transmission. So, ito kasi is napapas siya airborne. Once na naka-inhale ka ng droplets or aerosols from an infected person, may tendency nga na ma-obtain mo yung varicella zoster virus. Well, pwede ka rin namang mahawa by direct contact dun sa infected person, pero kasi mas mabilis siyang mag-spread through airborne. Okay, so let's move on naman to the next slide, which is the causes. So, iisa lang kasi yung pwedeng maging cause para matamaan ka ng varicella, which is being infected by the pathogen that causes this disease, which is the varicella zoster virus. At ma-obtain mo lang siya kapag na-inhale mo yung droplets or aerosols from an infected person. Yun lang yun. Okay, so let's move on naman to the next slide, which is the symptoms. So, may iba-iba kasing symptoms si varicella depende sa age ng tinamaan niya. So, pero the most common symptoms that can be obtained or that can be felt kapag tinamaan ka nitong virus is fever, headache, stomach ache, the feeling of tiredness, blisters or skin lesions as well as rashes, at yung bumps that are filled with fluid. Kapag tinamaan naman ni varicella isang adult, well, pwede silang maka-experience ng dyspnea or difficulty breathing. And when it comes to diagnosis naman, doctors uses the PCR test or the polymerase chain reaction to test if the varicella zoster virus is present in the skin lesions. Okay, so let's move on naman to the next slide, which is the vaccination. So, there is an available vaccination for varicella. So, ibinibigay ang varicella vaccine sa mga bata na 12 to 15 months old. For further protection, binuboost iyon in the age of 4 to 6 years old. Children older than 6 years old but younger than 13 years old na hindi pa nagkakaroon ng varicella is binibigyan din sila ng vaccine pero 2 doses na and 3 months apart. And children older than 13 years old na hindi pa nagkakaroon ng varicella is binibigyan din sila ng 2 doses pero 1 to 2 months apart lang yung pagitan. And then, let's move on to the last slide of this presentation. So, makikita nyo sa picture is the stages of varicella. So, merong 3 stages ang varicella. And the last stage, yan yung part in which mas mabilis na makakahawa ng virus through direct contact. Kaya kapag meron kayong mga nakikita na nagkakaroon ng chickenpox and hindi pa kayo nagkakaroon nun, kapag nandun na sila sa part in which nagiging scab na yung kanilang skin lesions, huwag na kayong lalapit para hindi kayo mahawa.